The family of an 11-year-old boy from Texas who froze to death after the family's mobile home lost power during cold weather are suing the electricity companies involved to the tune of $100 million. Christian Papone Pineda, 11, was found dead in his bed next to his younger brother Tuesday as temperatures plummeted into single digits and the family were unable to keep. The lawsuit places the blame squarely at the region's utility companies, power grid operator ERCOT and electricity provider Entergy, holding them responsible for. The Pineda family are accusing the providers of gross negligence and say the companies failed to warn people of the dangerous conditions and gave incomplete guidance to. Texas is the only state in the continental United States with an independent and isolated grid. It allows the state to avoid federal regulation, but also severely limits its ability to draw emergency power from other grids. ERCOT, which operates the grid, saw 4.5 million of their customers without power during the cold snap. There have been at least 30 deaths across the Lone Star State as a result of the extreme weather, which also left people without potable drinking water. President Biden declared a major disaster in the state and ensures federal funding is made available to individuals across the state, including assistance for temporary housing, home repairs and low-cost loans for losses on uninsured property. Share this article. Share. Joe Biden's press secretary on Sunday confirmed the president may visit Texas as soon as. Jen Psaki said the president is eager to help but added, Hess also very mindful of the fact that it's not a light footprint for a president to travel to. He does not want to take away resources or attention. And we're going to do that at an appropriate time in coordination with people. It'll be as soon as this week, she said. Houston Mayor Sylvester Turner told CBS Face the Nation that Biden can come anytime. We certainly would welcome him, Turner said. Other tragic deaths have been detailed this weekend. 3 young siblings died alongside their grandmother in a house blaze after using a fireplace to keep. Olivia, Edison and Colette Wynn and their grandmother Lalone, 75, died in the early hours of Tuesday morning at their Sugar Land home and during the statewide blackout. It is unclear how the fire started or the fuel being used. The fireplace was downstairs, the home's bedrooms. The children's aunt, Vanessa Kahn, told the Daily Beast, We don't know why the lights went out like that. The city should have been prepared for. Why was the power off? If the power wasn't off, this wouldn't have happened. Olivia was 11, Edison, 8, and Colette. The family had been without power at their Sugar Land home for 8 hours when another man reportedly froze to death in his recliner chair with his nearly dead wife by his side, and a mother and daughter died from carbon monoxide poisoning as they bundled in their car. 2 older men were also found dead in their homes in the small West Texas town of Buffalo Gap in Taylor County. Senator Ted Cruz has been mocked for sharing photos of himself handing out bottled water in a shameless photo op just days after he jetted off to Cancun. Late on Saturday night, Cruz posted a series of pictures of himself on Twitter showing him delivering water to those in need together with the hashtag #text. The senator was forced to return from his Mexican beach resort vacation while millions of fellow Texans were left dealing with horrendous conditions. The water shortage is affecting hospitals across the South. At one, workers stood outside to collect rain. Others stood in line at a running tap in a park. At the height of last week's storm, hospitals scrambled to care for patients amid record cold temperature. The icy blast ruptured water mains and contributed to at least 76 deaths nationwide. At least 7 people died in Tennessee and 4 in Portland, Oregon. A rural hospital in Anahuac, Texas, about 50 miles east of Houston, lost both. William Kiefer, CEO of Chambers Health, which runs the hospital along with 2 clinics and a wellness center, said the facilities resorted to backup generators and water from a 275-gallon storage. They refilled it 3 times using water from a swimming pool in the wellness center. When temperatures were in the teens last Monday, a woman about to give birth walked into the hospital after she could not make it through the ice and snow to her hospital in suburban Houston. Emergency room staff delivered the baby safely, Kiefer said. It would have taken her another 2 hours to get to the suburban Houston hospital if our facility wasn't there, he said. We can probably assume she would have had the baby in her car in the snow. Not a good situation. Water was restored Thursday, and operations had returned to normal on Sunday, he said. The health system plans to look into installing more sophisticated backup systems, he said. Houston Methodist Hospital spokeswoman Gail Smith said water had been restored at 2 community hospitals in the system, which was dealing with an influx of dialysis patients after their local centers closed. After temperatures plunged as much as 40 degrees below normal last week, The forecast for the Houston area called for a high of 65 degrees. The city lifted its boil water advisory on Sunday afternoon. About 30,000 Texans were still without power due to downed power lines and other equipment. Governor Greg Abbott said during a news conference that he expected all service to be restored by Sunday night or Monday. Abbott also said he was concerned about the threat of massive electric bills after wholesale energy prices skyrocketed while power plants were. He said it would be the top priority for the legislature, and he vowed not to end the legislative session until lawmakers ensure that the state's power grid is retrofitted to handle extreme winter and summer. Nearly 230,000 customers across the South were still without power as of Sunday, according to Power Us, a website that tracks power outages. Other large blackouts were in Mississippi, West Virginia, Kentucky, and Oregon. Memphis, Tennessee, saw 10 inches of snow last week. Memphis, Light, Gas and Water issued a boil water advisory on Thursday out of concern that low water pressure caused by problems at aging pumping stations and water main ruptures could lead to The advisory was still in place Sunday. Utility officials said they did not know when they might lift. About 260,000 homes and businesses were under the advisory. Hospitals and nursing homes have been forced to switch to. The Tennessee National Guard was supplying St. Francis Hospital with water. Nearby Baptist Memorial Hospital took on some of Francis patients, particularly those who need dialysis, said Dr. Jeff Wright, a pulmonary and critical care physician at Baptist. That hospital has a water purification system for dialysis and has water reserves for tasks such as cooking and bathing patients. We have gallon jugs of water that were already stocked and ready to roll on day one. Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare also reported problems at some of its Memphis area facilities due to water pressure problems and the system is using tanker trucks to boost water pressure and relying on help from facilities that have not been affected. City officials plan to distribute water bottles at several locations Sunday. Grocery stores struggled to keep shelves stocked with bottled water. Many restaurants remained closed. In Washington, the White House said about a third of the COVID-19 vaccine doses delayed by the storm were delivered. The weather created a backlog of about 6 million doses as power outages closed some vaccination centers and icy weather stranded vaccine in White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki told ABC's This Week that about 2 million of those doses have gone out. Texas Representative Michael McCall told CNN's State of the Union that federal disaster relief can be used to repair burst pipes and flood damage and to help Texans hit with skyrocketing energy. McCall also criticized fellow Republican Senator Ted Cruz's decision to take his family on vacation amid the crisis. When a crisis hits my state, I'm there, McCall said. I'm not going to go on some vacation. I know Mr. Cruz called it a mistake, and has owned up to that. But I think that was a big. Indeed, the state's Republican leadership has been blamed for ignoring warnings that winter could wreak the havoc that it did, and for not providing local officials with enough information to protect. Power outages spiraled through the day Monday, ultimately cutting off more than 4 million people. Grocery stores shut down, and hotel rates skyrocketed. Things got worse Tuesday. By Wednesday, some started to get their power back, but a new shortage emerged. Frozen pipes burst across the state and the water that did come out of taps was often undrinkable due to dangerously low water pressure level. At one point, an estimated 13 million people were under a boil water order, nearly half of Texas' population. At week's end, as the cold weather began to loosen its grip, the power came back for most but the effects linger. Some Texans on variable rate power contracts faced electric bills in the thousands of dollars, leading the governor to hold an emergency meeting Saturday with lawmakers.